What's up guys, it's me again, crushedpixel. Today I'm playing a round of Trouble in Terrorist Town in Minecraft together with Craftronics and Professor, and hopefully they do not suspect me being a trader, but of course I have my C4 here and I'm going to plant it back there, and yes, they're already wondering. So I have my plant C4 here and I have that timer. I can set the time for it, for example 105 seconds, and now we have the timer. I can adjust it with the with these buttons here, but I'll just set it to 45 seconds and then plant it just in here. Here we go, and you see it makes that beeping noise, and the beeping noise is louder depending on how far away I am from the C4. And I also get that Defuse C4 book whenever I'm in the radius, so I can just cut any wire, but I do not want that, of course. And in 20 seconds it's going to explode, so I should probably get away from here soon, but of course I want the others to explode, so hopefully they just run in. Okay, I told them to come there, and meanwhile I'm just going to watch and enjoy how they are all going to be blown up. Ah well, that worked. Professor was at least blown up, and I'm just going to kill the last person. Neat! What I created for you today is some nice timeable and diffusable C4 in vanilla Minecraft. And I have it here. It's a written book, and it uses the new tellraw features that come with the new snapshot. And yeah, here I can show it to you again. I can find adjust the time and then plant it. And you see, it has exactly that time. And if I want to defuse it, it's very risky because the chance that it's going to explode instead of getting diffused is 1/4. So I'm just going to cut the blue wire now. And that didn't work. So let me just show you all of the redstone. It's back here. This is just a simple fill clock. And we have several scoreboard objectives here. Just going to list them all. We have C4 time, C4R, immune, C4 plant, C4A, and so on. Many of them are trigger objectives, so they're just there for the books. And let me just show you what's going on here. First, it's going to enable all the triggers every single tick, so every player can use the books. And then if you click on the book, I can just actually show it to you. If you click on the -5 or on the +5, if I do game rule send comment feedback true, you see it sets the trigger C4R score to 1 if I click on the minus, and if I have a C4 min score of 1, it's going to decrease my C4 time by 5, and the C4 time is actually the time that's going to be displayed here. And yeah, this time I changed C4A, and then it just adds the time for me. Then it just re-enables the triggers. And if I have made the decision to add or decrease the time, then it's just going to set my gift book score to 1, so it's going to refresh the book because it needs to refresh that time score here. And what we have here is just these features. If I click there, it's going to set my trigger C4 underscore set score to 105. If I set it to 45, it's going to set it to 45, and so on. And this works using the C4 set trigger that I showed you. And if I have a C4 set score of at least 1, it's going to set my C4 time to 0 first, and then it's going to use scoreboard player's operation to increment my C4 time by the value I have at the C4 set score. So if I have a C4 set score of at least 1, it's going to increase my C4 time by the amount. So if I have it to 45, it's going to set my C4 time to 45, and so on. That's a little bit more advanced redstone, but yeah, I think it's not too complicated. Then it's going to set my gift book score as well. And if I have a gift book score, it's going to clear that book from me, and then it's going to add the new book. This uses just some very long JSON for all of the text. Yeah, that's a lot, and it took me some time to create that. And then it's going to set my gift book score to 0. Okay, then it just resets these scores. And if I have a C4 planned score of at least 1, you see, then I simply planted the C4. What it's going to do is it's going to simply spawn a wither skull just right in my position using an execute command with no direction, a custom name of C4. This is the name we're going to target the wither skull later. And yeah, we just have it there. And it's going to set the immune score to 0 for all wither skulls. And if the wither skull already has a C4 tick score, which a newly spawned wither skull does not have, it's going to set the immune score to 1. So only new wither skulls will have a C4 immune score of 0. And if I have an immune score of 0, it's going to set my C4 tick to 1 and increment it by the time of me. So if I have a time score of 55, so I just set my C4 time to 55, it's going to set the tick value of the wither skull to 45 and so on. So it's just going to set the tick value to my time value that I defined using the book. And let me just diffuse that. It didn't work again. Yeah, so this is just how I give the time to the wither skull. And then I set the C4 wire to 0. And then I'm just every tick. This is what determines whether it's going to blow up. This is a little bit more complicated. So if I do scoreboard objective set display sidebar C4 wire, see there are already some. Let me just do scoreboard players reset. Here we go. I cleared that. If I give this to myself, plan just the C4, you see the wire score is randomly changing with every tick. It's not random actually, but yeah. And yeah, this is just basically to tell whether I'm correct with diffusing the C4. So let me just show you how this works. There is that C4 cut score I have, and it's going to be set to a certain value whenever I click there. So I just set my C4 cut score to 3, and what it's going to do, it's going to do some calculations with the wire score. So first, if I decide to cut it, it's going to set the wire score to 0, and then it's going to increment the wire score by my C4 cut score. So my wire score is 3. For example, if I clicked on diffuse the yellow wire, then it's going to reduce it by the wire score of the wither skull. So if the wither skull has in that certain tick a wire score of 3, then I diffused the correct one, and it's not going to set my C4 diffuse score to 0. First it's going to set my C4 diffuse score to 1, but if my wire score is smaller than 0 or larger than 0, I did not pick the right wire, and it's basically going to set the C4 tick for the wither skull to 1, meaning that it's going to explode 1 second later. But however, if my diffused score is at least 1, it's going to kill the nearest C4. Then it just sets that score to 0 again. But what does actually happen when the C4 explodes? So I can just show that. If the wither skull with the name C4 has a tick score of 0, meaning his time ran out, he's just going to summon a creeper with a fuse of 0, meaning it's going to explode instantly with an explosion radius of 20, which is pretty big, and a custom name of C4 for giving that effect of crushed pixel was blown up by C4 and so on. And then it's going to kill the C4 unless it has not been destroyed by the creeper explosion so far. Okay, so whenever the time runs out, it's going to give that creeper explosion. And then we have that near C4 score, which is going to be set to 0 all the time, and then it executes for every C4. If there is a player nearby, it's going to set the near C4 score to 1. And if I already have a book, it's going to set my has Defuse score to 1 if my inventory somewhere contains that written book with the name of Defuse C4. Then it's going to set my has Defuse score to 1. Otherwise, it's going to give me that book if my has Defuse score is 0. So I only get the book if I don't have it already. And if I'm not near the C4, it's going to clear the book from me, okay? And that's how this works. So whenever I'm near it, it's going to set my near score, and if I don't have a book, it's going to give one to me. And this is the final part, the Endermite, and how this works is pretty cool as well. First, what I do is, this is just a clock with redstone blocks and stone, which gets triggered every single second, and first it decrements the C4 tick score of every wither skull. So this is actually what counts down the wither skull's time, and then it's going to kill all endermites and their holder wither skulls, and it's going to just fill this region. And every single of these command blocks works for a different time value. So for every wither skull with a tick score of 19, it's going to summon an endermite with the name 19 and some slowness effects, which is riding a wither skull named Holder, and this is of course the same for a wither skull with a tick of 37. So it's just for every different tick score, it's going to summon a different endermite. And finally we have that nice sound, and it's executing for every wither skull. If I'm displaying the C4 sound, which is basically the beeping in my custom resource pack, to every player in a radius of 2 with the full volume, and in a bigger radius with a not as high volume, and so on. And for example, if I'm between 8 and 10 blocks, it's only going to play it with half volume, and so on. So it's just not as loud if you're not as near to it. And yeah, that's about it already. I'm going to plant some more C4 here. Maybe I can finally defuse it now. Nah, that didn't work. Okay, so thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to check out Craftronics. He does some very nice redstone videos. Yeah, his skills are very insane. See you in the next video. Bye!